What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I am here. I got a couple updates for you, some things I wanted to talk to you about really fast. I'm trying to make this quick, but we are getting ready to play our next game this weekend against the Redskins. We'll see how that goes. It should be interesting, to say the least. But, some things ahead of that I wanted to talk about. First and foremost, in a press conference, Brian Flores has announced that Josh Rosen is expected to be the quarterback for the remainder of the season, which, I think makes the most sense, just because, if you do really want to try and win, he gives you the best chance, even though I don't think we're going to anyway, but he certainly does give you the best chance over Ryan Fitzpatrick. And you do want to, see what you got, even though he's not playing with very much, and it's certainly very difficult to evaluate him under these circumstances. And frankly, at the end of the day, it's probably going to be a waste anyway, including the second round pick and the fifth round pick that we gave up to get him, because it goes without question that we're going to be taking a quarterback high in the draft this next year. And it's going to be, there's obviously a lot of speculation that the front runner is Tua Tagovailoa, which I actually want to talk about in a minute a little bit. But it's whoever Stephen Ross wants, right? So Stephen Ross, as we know, instructed Brian Flores to tank this season specifically to get a quarterback. So we know that we're going to, and it's just whoever he likes. I would say it's definitely a distinct possibility that it could end up being Tua. But we'll see. We'll have to see. Whoever it is, whoever Stephen Ross likes is who we're going to take. But, so, back to Rosen. So Rosen is, and that's, like I said, that's part of the reason why I felt like Rosen was going to end up, being a complete waste, and why I didn't agree with that move, and I just would have taken Will Grier in the third round in this past draft. But anyway, so, but Rosen is going to be starting from now on, so we expect him to start against the Redskins, and for the remainder of the season, obviously barring some sort of injury. I don't believe that if he could even, he couldn't play any worse than Ryan Fitzpatrick plays. So, or at least I find that unimaginable. So I would venture to guess he will not get benched for performance reasons, even if he does have some, some bad games, some really bad games even. But again, he doesn't really have much to work with, so he's going to, I definitely expect him to struggle, and it's going to be hard to evaluate him, especially because there's also reports out. There was an article that the Dolphins are going to be experimenting with their fifth offensive line of the season. I'm not going to read the article, but I just want to give a couple quotes from offensive coordinator Chad O'Shea. He says that the offensive line is a puzzle, and that the linemen are puzzle pieces he's trying to slot into the right holes. He goes on to say, we are trying to find the best five that fit best together and give us the best chance to do what we need to do to be successful on offense. He also says, Webb moving over to the left side gave us another look at maybe a potential combination that may work best for us. I think we are still uncertain. We are still looking for the best combination and how it all fits together. Frankly, week 6 into the season is not a good time to be uncertain about who your offensive line is going to be. But, what do I know, right? So, who knows? They didn't play terribly last week, at least in the first half. They played all right, although obviously a good portion of that was, scripted, and, the stuff that they've practiced over and over and over again in practice over the week. So that had something to do with it. And clearly in the second half, the rails just completely came off, or they came off the rails rather. And so, I don't know. I mean, the Redskins, obviously, they are struggling. You know, it looks like Case Keenum's going to end up being their quarterback. So, I mean, there's certainly going to be some opportunities. They are 3.5 point favorites, 3.5 point favorite going into this game. But, I mean, you know, and as I mentioned before, you know, we did get Jamal Wiltz back, and Bobby McCain's at practice, and Allen Hurns is practicing, not quite out of the concussion protocol yet, but he is at practice. So, I mean, there's certainly going to be some opportunities. You know, do I think that they're going to take advantage of them, or, you know, do I think that they'll even be able to hold up, you know, past maybe the first half like they have shown a couple times? I'm not confident in that. I mean, we'll have to see. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, frankly, at the end of the day, I think that, you know, again, this team was designed to be bad, and it seems oftentimes that, you know, even a lot of the on-field decisions made by like the coaches, you know, the plays, or, you know, not, you know, deciding not to not challenge that potential Preston Williams touchdown, or, you know, just some other things too. There was, you know, there have been a few examples of just really questionable calls in the Patriots game. Why would you win the toss and then decide to take the ball first? Like, you know, you should defer and take it after the half. Especially because the Patriots are notorious for scoring at the end of the first half, and then coming out and scoring again at the beginning of the second half because they get the ball. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure they are going to find a way to lose, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, and I mean, there's some other injury news that's not super. I mean, you know, there's some good stuff with some guys coming back. Although I think Bobby McCain, if, you know, a lot of the reports are that he has a separated shoulder. I don't think that's going to last too long. I think it's still pretty likely that he ends up on injured reserve at some point this season. Especially if he plays, because if he keeps playing with a separated shoulder at some point, I mean, we saw Rashad Jones do it, and he ended up having to have surgery. He's had surgery on both of his shoulders now at this point. Anyway, but there is some bad injury news. Rashad Jones, Xavier Howard, and Jakeem Grant are among many Dolphins limited in practice with injuries. So there are a bunch of guys that are banged up, including, you know, I mean, some of the best guys that we have on the team, including Xavier Howard. And I've been saying for a while that we need to keep an eye on that situation, because Xavier Howard is one injury scare away, in my opinion, from like a legit injury scare. I mean, if it's something minor, you know, maybe if he just like, you know, tweaked something a little bit or whatever, that's one thing. But if he has any like legit injury scare, he's going to be completely bought out on this whole, you know, let's lose now to hopefully maybe potentially one day win again bullshit, right? Because he's not going to find it worth it to spend his the prime years of his career wasting away, you know, on this nonsense. So you know, that's something that we'll have to keep an eye on going into for the rest of this week and going into this upcoming game. I am going to be very eager to see what our you know, injury report looks like, and then who the inactives and stuff are going to be. I mean, Jesse Davis is back at practice as well. Again, we are getting some guys back, but a lot of guys are still super banged up. And anyway, so we'll see. Obviously, you know, we still got a few more days. The game is on Sunday, I believe, at 10 o'clock West Coast time, and then 1 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. So, and obviously I will be doing a live stream for the game. During the game, I can't show the game, but I will be doing a live stream to react to it and talk and discuss what's going on and so on and so forth, as I have been doing. It's been a lot of fun, so I will obviously continue that. But yeah, I mean, that's it, you know, really for right now. We're just gonna have to keep an eye on how things go for the remainder of this season, of this week, and see how things play out with the injury report and all that going into this game. And then, we'll see how the game plays out. We'll see if they can, because look, at the end of the day, there are some data points that, at least within themselves could point to maybe, towards improvements with this team, right? Like, we started out super bad, historically bad, giving up 59 points, and then we've improved each game. The offensive line played all right for the first half, the past couple games, blah, blah, blah. There's some all right things. I personally think it's super marginal and is outweighed by all the rest of it, but there are some things, to be fair, and the thing is, the question is can they build off that, and can they even, take advantage of, a struggling weak team? The point differential for the Redskins is the second worst in the NFL right now, but they're at like 30 something, I think it is, or 40 something, minus 30 or 40 something. I want to say it's like 35 or 38, because we're like 80 points, or it might be a little higher than that, but when last I checked, we were over 80 points worse than they are. So yes, they're bad. Yes, like the Jets and the Bengals are also bad, but they're not as bad as we are. So there's still, a distinct possibility that, these other teams do win. Is there potential that we could get wins out of those teams? Maybe, but with the way that this team has been designed and built, with the injuries that are mounting, and with the, at best, the ineptitude of the coaching staff, because it's either you say that they are doing it on purpose and calling bad things on purpose so that they can lose, and putting guys in bad positions with their play calls intentionally so that they can lose, or the other option is that they're just failing at the coaching, right? And they're just not doing a very good job at it. And now part of that, you could also say, is because they're, a first year group, but at the same time, Brian Flores does have 15 years in the league. He does have, all of that experience with the New England Patriots, not to mention his entire coaching staff. None of them are newbies. They're all, they've all been around the league for years and years and years, have tons of experience. That was one of the things that Brian Flores got tons of credit for when he put this coaching staff together, even though he's lost 2 of those staff members, since putting this staff together, is that they have a ton of experience and so on and so forth. So, it's hard to hold that, or to give them that excuse, because they should know how to do this. Yes, it's the first year that this group is together in this location, but none of them are like, super. Brian Flores, does get a little bit of slack in the sense of it's the first time he's a head coach, but most of these guys are not in positions that are, unfamiliar to them, or, bigger than things that they've done before. So it's kind of hard to give them, the benefit of the doubt fully in that regard. But those are your choices. Either they're, neither of them are really all that great. Again, you can give them a little bit of leeway with the ineptitude argument, because there is some defense, a little bit, but not much. So, yeah, anyway, that's all I got. We'll see how things go on Sunday. I'm obviously going to be doing my preview video on Saturday, so I'm going to wait to really get into that. Because I do also, still need to, I want to watch the game, and then, I'll have to put together all the the statistics and stats and league standings and stuff for you guys. I'll make that video Saturday, and then Sunday live stream, we'll watch the game. And I'll just say this again, I'm not really expecting us to come out with a W in this. I don't expect it to be like a blowout like the first 4 games of the season were. Last one, I called it a mini blowout, not a full blowout. But I think we could still end up losing by like a touchdown or maybe even 10 points. But I think it'll be relatively close for most of the game, most notably because the Redskins are struggling. And I think that with the defense has shown some ability to hang in there a little bit, and the offense at least has shown in a couple games the ability to hang in there a little bit in the first half, even though they've scored 1 touchdown like the entire time. So we'll see. So real quick too, before I go, I wanted to also talk about, I mentioned Tua. So the thing is, right, so about Tua, obviously, he's kind of like the consensus pick amongst most people right now, fans included. There's the whole tank for Tua, blah, blah, blah. By the way, real quick, also, I'm sorry, but anybody who wants them to go 0-16 and wants us to lose on Sundays because they want us to be able to guarantee ourselves that number 1 pick to get, a specific guy, that is the definition of anti-fandom. Like, anytime you want your team to lose, especially because there's no guarantee. There's absolutely no guarantee. And so let me continue on with the Tua conversation, right? Because look, at the end of the day, we have absolutely no offensive line right now. We're already essentially wasting, Josh Rosen and the picks we gave to get him because we know that we're taking a quarterback high in this draft, right? And so at best, he's probably going to end up being, a backup, because you're not going to draft a quarterback high this year, this upcoming year, and not play him. You're not, especially in this situation. And so, but at the same time, even if they, with their other 2 first-round picks, took offensive linemen, you're still very inadequate across the offensive line. And it's highly likely that your quarterback is going to be under duress a lot, right? And so, but I don't expect them to take 2 offensive linemen with those other 2 picks. It's possible, but probably not likely. And so, but even still, they have to transition to the NFL, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And, Tua is a little bit short for a quarterback. He's 6'1". But he has, more importantly, had, some durability issues already. And so, for a slightly smaller quarterback with, some potential durability issues, it's probably not a good idea to put him behind an offensive line that you don't know is already established. You are taking such a risk. And then if he ends up getting hurt, right? And then maybe next year we do have Josh Rosen as backup, expensive backup at that point, draft capital wise. And then considering he was taken with the 10th overall pick 2 drafts ago, we gave a 2nd and a 5th to get him. And so, maybe he does, but then, he's still got to play the rest of this season behind this terrible offensive line. So hopefully he doesn't get hurt this year. But then, it's such a massive gamble, and it seems to me like it's far more likely that all of this is, the individual transactions and the individual moves that are made, in addition to, first of all, the individual things, and unfortunately, from my perspective, will end up in, failure. and then thus will lead to the greater, failure of this whole attempt to, whatever, right? I mean, the idea is to bring us out of perpetual mediocrity, but to me, the answer is not historically bad, just so that way you can hopefully one day, resurface and get things going again. It's crazy. Anyway, yeah, so that's all I got. I'm gonna get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoy my videos. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section, and of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. See y'all soon. Fins up.